In this short course on 1031 exchanges, we will follow Bob as he sells his investment property and purchases a replacement investment property through the tax-deferred exchange process. Bob is under contract to sell a home that he has rented out for the past few years. He has decided that now is the time to sell this rental property to buy a piece of commercial property. Bob has already accepted an offer on his property, and he included a provision in the contract that he has the right to perform a 1031 exchange. Once the contract is fully executed, Bob can call First American Exchange to begin the documentation process of the transaction. If Bob's goal is to defer all of his capital gain tax liability from his sale, he must follow a few general rules. First, he must purchase a property of equal or greater value than the property he sold. Second, he must reinvest all the cash equity from the sale property into the replacement property. For example, if Bob's property sells for $300,000 and he were to net $100,000 in proceeds from the sale, Bob must purchase a property with a fair market value of at least $300,000, and he must reinvest all of the $100,000 into that property. When the sale of Bob's rental property closes escrow, the property is deeded directly to the buyer, and the cash proceeds come directly to First American Exchange as qualified intermediary, and Bob's exchange period begins. There are some specific timeframes which Bob must follow when doing his 1031 exchange. First, he must identify replacement property within 45 calendar days of the transfer of his relinquished property. Second, Bob must acquire his identified replacement property on or before the earlier of 180 calendar days after the transfer of his relinquished property or the due date of his tax return. There are generally no extensions to these timeframes except for presidentially declared disasters. To complete his 1031 exchange, Bob must sell and acquire property of like kind. What is like kind? Like kind is defined in Section 1031 as property held for productive use in trade or business or for investment, such as a single-family home, a condominium, a commercial property, or even raw land. In some states, you can also purchase water rights or oil and gas rights. Investors should consult with their tax or legal advisors as to what is considered like kind in their area. The commercial property that Bob wants to buy is considered like kind to the residential rental property that he sold. Once Bob is in contract to buy the commercial property, he can call First American Exchange to prepare the final exchange documentation. First American Exchange will wire the exchange funds it is holding to the replacement escrow, and Bob will take care of getting any loan that he needs and bringing in any additional cash for the purchase. At closing, the commercial property will be deeded directly to Bob. The 1031 exchange is part of the Internal Revenue Code that many people do not fully understand. Contacting First American Exchange is your first step in understanding and having a successful 1031 exchange.